Okay, today we're going to start looking at how you solve a rational equation. This first word problem says a music download service advertises downloads for $1 per song. The service also charges a monthly access fee of $15. If a customer downloads songs in 1 month, the bill in dollars would be the actual, where the actual cost per song is going to be 15 plus X over X. They want us to find out how many songs a person would need to download to make the actual cost per song $1.25. Well, we can do some stuff here. We should be able to set up an equation if we know this is the actual cost per song and the actual cost ends up being 125. We should put these two equal to each other and solve it. But how do we solve something like this? Well, on the right side, we got a rational equation. What we want to do on these rational equation problems is get the same denominator on both sides. So if the right side has a denominator of x, we also want the same denominator over on this side. So what we're going to do is make that one over x too. But if we put x on the bottom, we're changing the problem unless we also multiply x to the top. So if we do that, now we got 125. $1.25x over x equals 15 plus x over x. Now what we can do, since we got x on both sides, is multiply. If we multiply both sides by an x, it will simply cancel out. So both sides of the denominator's gone. Now we just have to solve the numerator. So if we solve what's on top here, we should get the answer. We can do that by subtracting an x. So now we got 0.25x equals 15, and if we divide by 0.25, you end up with 60 songs. So the key to doing these problems is you want to get the same denominator, a common denominator on both sides. All right, so rational equations. Remember, that's any equation that contains one or more rational expressions. So we're going to be solving out problems that have one or more rational expressions. And the key to doing this, again, to solve rational equations, you're going to eliminate the denominators. You can do this by multiplying both sides of the equation by the least common multiple of the denominators. And we talked about how to find least common multiple, or least common denominator. So let's take an example. On number 2 here, we want to solve this one. In order to do it, first thing we want to do is to find what is the least common denominator of all these terms. So looking at all the denominators, looks like 2 of them have a 5 and 2 of them have an x, so the least common denominator here is going to be 5x. So we want to make all these denominators 5x. So this first one we're going to need to multiply both top and bottom by an x. The second one already has the least common denominator, so we don't have to touch that one. This last one, though, we want to multiply both top and bottom by 5. Remember, whatever you do to the top, you need to do to the bottom. So now our problem is going to turn into x over 5x minus 2 over 5x equals 5 over 5x. And these two on the left side, now we should be able to subtract these because they have a common denominator, so that'd be x minus 2 over the common denominator of 5x over 5x. Now that we have this, if we were to multiply both sides by 5x, they would simply cancel out. So we don't need to worry about the denominators. All we got to do is solve the numerator. So we got x minus 2 equals 5. If we add 2 to both sides, we get the answer of 7. Let's try another one. On number 3 here, same thing. What's the least common denominator going to be? Well, we got one with 2x, so one with x, and one with no denominator. It looks like 2x is the least common denominator here, so now we need to do some multiplying. The second term, multiply both top and bottom by 2. This last one doesn't have a denominator, so we want to make it 2x. So that means you also need to multiply the top by 2x. So our problem is going to become x minus 3 plus, we can do this multiplying here, 2 times 9 is going to be 18, all over the common denominator of 2x equals, if we do our multiplying over here, we get 4x over 2x. Okay, again, once you get it to this point, these two denominators, if we were to multiply by 2x, simply cancel out. So we just need to solve the top. We got x plus 15 then equal to 4x. If we keep solving here, we could subtract an x. And if we do some division, we find that x equals 5. All right, let's try a few more here. Number 4, this one, now we start seeing something a little bit different. It's got a plus in here. Same thing though, remember that's just considered one term here. So what would be the least common denominator? Definitely both of these are going to need or all of them are going to need a z minus 2, so, or z plus 2. So we need to multiply that one by z plus 2. This one also is going to need to get multiplied by z plus 2. And whatever you do to the bottom, you need to do to the top. Now we also need to look, there's some constant terms here. This one's got the first one has a 28, and that seems to be the biggest number here. So that means this middle term is going to need to get multiplied by 28. And this last term is going to need to be 28 as the number 2. But there's already a 4 there, so if we do some dividing here, 28 divided by 4 is 7. So this is also going to need to get multiplied by 7 on top and bottom. Now we should have our least common denominator of 28 times z plus 2. So now we go through and we do some multiplying here. Our denominator all the way through should be z plus 2 times 28 on both sides. We just got to figure out what's the numerator going to be. There's some multiplying we're going to need to do here. We're going to have to distribute. That's going to be 9z plus 18. Here there's some multiplying. 28 times 3 is going to give us 84. Here we got some multiplying, 21. All right, now we got to keep going, but at this point, if we were to multiply both sides by 28 times z plus 2, those cancel out. So again, we're just solving what's on top. We can combine some like terms on this left side and get 9z plus 102. On this side, looks like there's some more distributing we need to do. 21z plus 42. If we keep solving, we could minus 9z. And get that. Then we can subtract 42 from both sides. And if we divide, it looks like we get z equals 5. So that's how you do those solving ones. Why don't you guys pause it quick, try number 5, kind of see how you're doing on this so far and see if you can solve this one. All right, let's see how you did. If you get the least common denominator on this one, you should have ended up figuring out it's 6 times x minus 2. So we want to get all those the same. So this first one needs an x minus 2. Make sure you multiply it to the top. This middle one needs a 6. So multiply both by 6. This last one, you're going to have to multiply by 3 to make it 6, and then the x minus 2. All right, when we do that then, there is some distributing. We're going to have to do some distributing there. Also some distributing over here. And we get 5x minus 10 plus 12 equals 3x minus 6. And then our two denominators on both sides should be the same at this point. And so we know from the previous problems, they cancel out. So if you solve the rest right here, you should have gotten -4 for the answer. Should solve to -4. All right, let's try 2 more here. Number 6, again, find the least common denominator. It looks like we're going to need one of these x minus 4s in there, that term. And then we got to figure what's the least common multiple of 12 and 48. 12 does go into 48, so our least common denominator here should be that. So now I'll figure out what to multiply everything by. This one's going to need the x minus 4. Same with the top. Here we're going to need 48. And then the first one, we got to make that number get to 48, so we're going to have to multiply by a 4. And also it looks like we're going to need the x minus 4 for that one as well. So now go through and do all that multiplying again. Our denominators should end up canceling out once we make them the same. So what is that top going to give us? Well, 4 times 7 is 28. We got a plus here. 48 times 9 is going to give us 432. And then we got some distributing over there to do. So if we solve this one out, distribute here and here. And this has some bigger numbers, so you might want to use your calculator just to double check. But 28 times x is 28x. 28 times 4 is going to give us minus 112. On the other side, we got some distributing too. 55 times negative 4 is going to give us negative 220. On one like this, I would combine like terms before you try doing any solving here, just so you're less likely to make a mistake. If we add those two numbers, it's 320. Keep solving this one out, and you should get 20. All right, one last one. Just to make sure we got down here. On this one, again, look for what's the least common denominator. Looks like this term is going to be part of it, 3 minus x. And then what's the least common multiple of 4 and 24? Well, 4 goes into 24. So it looks like we're going to have to get all the denominators to be that, which means this first one's going to have to get multiplied by 3 minus x. The second one's going to need to get multiplied by 24, and the last one, 6 times 3 minus x. Whatever you do to the bottom, make sure you do to the top so that your problem comes out to be correct. And like we did on all the other problems, once you get these denominators the same, they should end up canceling out. So if we do some distributing here, get that. 24 times 2 is 48. Here it looks like some distributing too. We got 6 times that, so it'd be 18 minus 6x. Like terms again, put like terms together. Just less likely to make a mistake if you do that. If we add those up, we get that should end up being 24, 48, looks like 63. And then get all your like terms of the other side, so we could add a 6x here. And we get this, and last step, minus 63. And we get negative 45. All right, why don't you guys try those out on the worksheet?